Yo guys, Beast, back with some more Beast content. So today, this is going to be my apartment complex build. This is an Institute apartment complex. We are using the Commonwealth Landlord mod, so all of these apartments are going to be making me caps daily. So, without further ado, first things first, let me go and tell you something. So, these caps make me about, I think, 3,000 caps. I don't remember the exact amount. It is in the title, though, for sure. It makes me about a little over 3,000 caps off of all these apartments, and it is totally worth it. These things are great. So, without further ado, let's get on into this. So, first things first is we have to build the base walls. The base walls is just going to be the outer walls, and then also segregating every single area for a single apartment. We didn't build the internals of the apartment walls yet. What we're currently working on is just going to be the external walls for the first floor. That is what we did first. I do believe we stopped and decorated an apartment and tested out how the walls are going to go and everything. As you can see right here, this was the first apartment, so we did go ahead and try and build it out a little bit. I like adding the little walls and segregating in the different rooms here. This really gave it more of an apartment vibe. We also did a little kitchen build right here. I actually think this is one of my favorite decorated apartments. It's not my favorite one exactly. We will be getting onto that one in a bit, but I do really like how this one turned out. The first one was really good. One of the top floor ones is really, really good. I like one of the top floor ones. It's one of the most expensive apartments we do rent out here in this Institute ran complex because, as y'all know, I finished the game on the Institute side, so anything that I am doing is going to be for the Institute and nobody else. But yeah, so if you're wondering why it's so Institute kind of themed, or also just being any apartment anybody can rent, it is because I completed the game as the Institute, so most of my builds now are going to start incorporating a little bit more of an Institute-y vibe. We don't want to make it too obvious that the Institute controls everything, but we did make our radio announcement very clear that the Institute's in control. We're in charge for a long time, so everybody better go ahead and get used to it and start paying up on what we want. So, as you can see here, this was the decorating of the bedroom. We didn't decorate it too hard, but I will say this bedroom was a little bit more decorated than some of the apartments. Some of the apartments I was a little lazy on the decorating, but when you're decorating 9 different apartments, by the 9th apartment, you do get a little bit tired, I will say, of decorating them. This took hours and hours and hours to build. And as you can see here, I know some people may not like this, but I like to use the CVC resources and lights section sometimes in my builds when I don't feel like powering it necessarily. I can go and add power, and I think some of the areas I will be adding power to just to go ahead and get the TVs functional. There is a functional TV in some of the rooms, but not all of them have functional TVs. I suppose we could also be using the Bleachers mod's portable reactor, which is like 100 power, and you can tuck it away anywhere and connect anything to it. We could be using that and even stick it down in like the console area of that area. And if you just seen what I did there with them umbrellas, for some reason you cannot delete those umbrellas even with one of my scrap anything mods. I don't have an extreme scrap anything mod. I just have, I think it's like better. I don't know what it is. I'll leave it linked down below. I need to do a video over all of my favorite settlement mods and the must-have ones that you do need, because there are some that, like with any of my builds, you could easily build this as long as you have my mods. But it will take you time, as I've said. And as you can see here, this is finally the second story. We haven't even built in any of the walls besides the first one, which is a completed apartment now. I just wanted to see how they were going to turn out, and they do fit really nicely. I do like how these turned out. The upper floors were kind of targeted for a different audience. I think actually most of the upper floor apartments are more expensive than the lower floor apartments. Well, we will be getting onto that. As a matter of fact, some of these apartments actually started to get even more additions added to them. Like kitchens, for an example. Some of the apartments do not have kitchens. That means that they are lower cap rent. I do have daily rent being collected on these, and I'd say it's high, but when really, what I would say is, when it comes to the Commonwealth, the Institute Manor, that's what we're going to call this, is the Institute Manor at the Slog, is considered like the New York of apartments. So you're really paying for those really expensive apartments. And if you know anything about New York or the other big cities where apartments are really expensive, it's like $3 grand a month for a rent versus other places being like $100, $200. It depends on where you live in the U.S. But you know what I'm saying? Or whatever country you're in, however your stuff exchanges. But anyway, So as you can see here, it looks like we're doing the walls of the bottom floor now. I think we went ahead and just built most of the walls of the bottom, and I think we even started working on the upper floor walls. This is the internal walls. This is just to separate everything to create things like bedrooms, bathrooms, laundry rooms, things like that, kitchen areas. Also just adding a bit of a flow. We like to use some of the curved walls in here. I think they just add a little bit better of a flow to the look of things in the apartment. It makes it look a lot less blocky, which is something you don't want in this game. When it gets too blocky, stuff starts to look ugly. I was a bit hesitant on even building it out of what I did. I thought about maybe going for a little bit more of like box cars and things like that, but I don't like those, and I'm okay with a box for an apartment complex, and I think it turned out very well. And once you check out the insides, you know these are some high quality apartments. Let me tell you what. We also do have a good amount of defense. We don't get to the building of defense yet, but we do have a lot of defense. I will tell you that now. And I think this apartment was pretty decently decorated here, but I think we forgot to put a TV in the bedroom, which I'm probably going to do that eventually. And then as you see here, these modular sofas from CVC makes you have so much more ability of what to do with a living room here. And honestly, not only just what to do with it, but more of just a better way of making it flow. I like having one solid sofa that's rather large so that it can accommodate the whole living room and fill up a large space than like a couch, a chair, and having to put all that down. And then also, I think the just L-shaped couches look pretty good in these builds and make it fit very nicely. We do use that L-shaped couch a lot in different varying sizes. This laundry room, I will say, was one of my more favorite laundry rooms. You will get to see a glimpse of it. Honestly, I didn't go too in-depth of showcasing the laundry rooms on this. Eventually, this settlement will be on the channel again, and we will get to revisit these apartments. I do know the video is 20 minutes, which is unusual for my channel, but do stay till the end because it is totally worth it just to see the preview of these apartments. It is a 5-minute preview of the apartments. So you know it's some real good previewing. So they're really nice. There's 9 apartments. So without further ado, here is, I think, a bathroom we were doing. I think this may have started to go into the decorating of the apartments, which is funny because we're 7 minutes into it and the whole structure itself is built, but we still have half of a video left of building just the area. And this is probably, see, I like this apartment the most. If I had to choose an apartment to live in this complex, it would definitely be this apartment, but I don't think it's my favorite decorations-wise, honestly. I think I did a better job on that first one's decorations-wise. I don't think I used enough decorations and such here, but I did really like this apartment build. Nonetheless, this was the most expensive apartment, I do believe, in the entire complex. And it's definitely, I would say, worth the caps. It is pretty high rent, but with my version of the game, I kind of aim more towards the businessman side of things, and I like to use mods to add like business aspects of it. So I assume that all the settlers are also learning how to sell stuff and make their own sort of businesses to be able to afford these high rents that I do have on these, because these are well worth it. You're getting all this stuff in the apartment and everything. I would definitely say I would pay that many caps a day just to be able to live here and be cool. Eventually this settlement will be getting that little diner thing down below will actually be updated and made into either a bank. I'm undecided on this, unfortunately. I wanted to make it a diner because this seems almost like a vacation area. There's even a pool over there that I have cleaned up a little bit. Well, we're not going to look at that pool at all. That is going to be a different video. The public pool build will be coming though, guys. We will be doing something with the cranberry, or the, I think it's cranberry slug, the slog, whatever this settlement is. We will be doing something with that pool. I almost moved it. I did try moving that pool, and you can get to move it, and the water does move, and everything does move, and you can move the frame of the pool. But I think if I was wanting to build a pool closer to the apartment complex, which is what I thought about doing, was moving the pool, I think I would have to just build the pool out of like concrete walls or something and just call it easier that way instead of using all of the pool liners and stuff. Maybe I'd do concrete walls and then you just use the pool liner decorations that they do have over there to kind of touch it up and make it look better without having to sit there and just, it's so like tedious trying to get that pool to line up properly once you've moved it. So I've just left it where it's at. We're probably just going to do a public pool there and then do some more stuff. We're going to do the tire wall, if you've seen that. I did cut out most of building on that because it was just kind of something I got on, I started recording, and then I started building, and I wanted to work on the tire wall already, and that's just going to be part of the defense around this settlement, because this is going to be a large settlement. This apartment complex is not the end of this settlement. This was just going to be, I needed to build something that would give me a passive way to earn a good amount of caps and actually be at least what I would consider immersive based upon the idea of using a Commonwealth Landlord mod. Since I'm using the Commonwealth Landlord mod in this fashion, I think it's completely okay that I'm spending like 25,000 caps on a bank build. When I invest most of my caps into banks, that is kind of... This save is actually based upon like a really old thing I did called like the Untold Stories of the Wasteland, the Money Man or something like that, where basically it was just a story thing, and I don't really like it nowadays. I kind of think about redoing it, but I guess that's another idea for another day. But yeah, as you can see here, we're getting closer to the end here. We are on like a top floor apartment. I think this was actually going to be an Institute Scientist themed apartment here. I think that's what the vibe was going with here, was going to be, this is where an Institute Scientist lives. This was a cheap apartment, by the way. We did give the Institute Scientist a very good budget cut. Not this one, the one before this one, but we did give the Institute Scientist build a very decent, substantial budget cut. It was, in my opinion, a very nice thing to do. They are Institute Scientists. They do get a cheaper price on the apartments here just because they work for the Institute, and I'm the leader of the Institute, so of course they gotta pay only $100 rent on their apartment. Pretty good deal if you ask me. Compared to anybody else living in these wonderful apartments. Now, the Institute Scientist that lives at that one is mainly a scientist, so he's doing research most of the day, so his apartment's not that heavily decorated. It's just kind of his place to sleep and his place to work, and that's about it. Away from the Institute. It's kind of like his vacation work home sort of scenario there. But, yeah. So, once again, more decorating. This was a little kitchen area. Like I said, some of these I didn't give kitchen areas while others did. I do believe they all got a washer and dryer. The first 2 or 3 did get the functional washer and dryer. But when it comes to adding resources into my game, the only resources I am willing to add in is things like steel, iron, copper, all the cloth, stuff like that. I will add all of that in, but I will not go through and I will not add a Broxo if I need a Broxo to make something, or if I need like a specific item in order to craft some sort of decoration or something, or some sort of functional item. Then it doesn't matter. As long as it's just a plain resource, I will add it in just because it's just saving time. But if it's a Broxo cleaner or something else, I will find a specific location that has a Broxo cleaner and go get it. And I just didn't feel like going to get any Broxo cleaner to make any more of these apartments have the fully functional washer and dryers, and really it's only a player item meant to be used by the player. Like my laundromat build in the Newcastle City, we did not go through and make every single washer and dryer functional. We just went through and made one that was functional so that the player could use it, but for decoration purposes it does kind of just look better to use a washer and dryer that's clean and, you know, not destroyed. Versus that weird workstation thing with the cutting board on top of it. And I don't mind the look of it for one single spot, but it's definitely not necessary, and I was able to decorate a lot better in the laundry rooms that I did not use that crafting sort of washer and dryer that allows you to dry, wash dirty clothes, make them clean, and stuff like that. We do have a link down below to the functional washer and dryer mod if you do want to check out that little showcase. We did do a full laundromat build in that video. But yeah, as you can see here, this is another one we are decorating. This might actually be the last apartment. I do believe this is the last apartment that we are decorating. And I think since this was the last one, I didn't skimp too much on the decorating. I do think some of the wall decoration here was kind of a little lazy, but at the same time I did like the frame poster look when they were stacked up like that. And we did give a little bit of work to it, but we didn't decorate it much. Like I said, it was the 9th apartment. We did add some lights. We did, you know, kit it out a little bit, and then of course we had to go back through all of the apartments we didn't do any lighting to. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but a lot of the apartments besides the first one we didn't actually do much lighting to until after we came back through, after we built them all and did the lighting. It just worked out better that way than having to do the lighting every single one of them. It saved some time, so I got to work on the next apartment and everything a lot sooner. But I do believe it's just about time to be out for the video. There is about 5 minutes worth of showcase coming up of just cinematic shots of this settlement. We will be seeing this settlement in the future. I wouldn't say the near future, not like tomorrow or anything. We will probably be doing something else entirely in tomorrow's video, but we will see, of course. But I do believe that's all. Go ahead and leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and keep it beast mode.